Let's go, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
It is September 16th, 2025. This is episode 98, which should be really exciting, but now it's getting to be a little bit sad because it's more of a countdown than count up. So we've got a couple more episodes for you before this duo goes on hiatus. But thanks for sticking with us. Stay around. Check out the last couple episodes. We're going to have fun. Probably spend a little time the next few episodes doing a little reminiscing and looking back on the years. But for today, we've got a fun one for you. We have had a lot of good results by the LA Blasters up in LA, which is doing a couple, they're doing a little poker go, a little Venetian style action up there, having some fun times and having some, I don't know, maybe it's affecting the Commerce Series because I saw a lot of LA faces in those standings. So we're gonna go through the results from the Commerce Hold'em series. We're gonna go over a couple notable shout outs from people who've been telling us what they're doing up there. We'll tell you we were out in the streets and out in Commerce doing our thing as well this weekend. We'll tell you how that went for us. And we got a couple other interesting topics popping up on the socials and popping up on X. We got kind of, I don't know, it's becoming one of our favorite topics. Kind of content, kind of attention, getting viewers for poker, and the latest people to chime in. It looks like Pads had kind of some reminiscent. I don't know, maybe some old ESPN episodes are coming on or something. But he did a little commenting on the internets, and it got some folks riled up and chatting back. So we'll chime in on that, and we'll see where we're at after that. Another other fun thing is the entirety of the Legends of Poker has finally showed up on Hendon Mob, which means we have those results all in our Player of the Year race. So we'll be able to check in on that after our first full series of the year, and we will see how people are doing, see how all of the familiar faces from the last race are doing. All right. So without further ado, why don't we jump into the results? Starting over at the Commerce Hold'em series, where things are heating up. We had just completed our first multi-day event of the series. We have results on there. They're coming up much more quickly now. I think it's only taking a couple days to get the results up on the Commerce website, so keep your eye over there if you want to see the latest. Let's jump back in with event number 8. This is where we left off last week. So event number 8, the $360 Friday deep stack from September 5th. This had 203 entries for a practically $61,000 prize pool. So this one was taken down by Jimmy Zuleika. He got 10,360 in an 8-way chop. Man, these chops are out of control. Wow. 8-way chop. But you know, the prize pools are so top heavy. I don't blame people wanting to lock in the money. Everybody wanting to get their amount. But you know me, you know Derek, we would never be chopping this early. So congratulations, James, getting that first in that chop. Second place in the chop, Robert Adelian. Third place, Brian Sham. Fourth place, Wilfredo Osorto. Fifth place, Reynaldo Salongo. Sixth place, Jeremy Yep. Seventh place, Tyler Cormney. Eighth place, June Long. And then rounding out the final table here, ninth place, Sean Gill, who just missed the chop. And if I had to guess, he didn't just miss the chop. He probably no-sirred it and then unfortunately got busted. Only other thing I can think of is come into the table with like 2 blinds or something, right?
So everybody, Mark Weinstein looks like he got there in 15th.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be some more points. Mark's doing pretty well on our Player of the Year race. Little teaser there. So that'll boost him a little bit there. Let's move on to event number 9.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not going to compete, not playing these deals.
Yeah.
Forget the POY this year, man.
Well, only certain ones count. That was the bigger one on Friday. This Friday nightcap does not count. So basically these tiny trophy ones are the ones that definitely don't count. But the Friday nightcap was a $250 though. $250 on Fridays, $30,000 prize pool, which does that mean it overlaid? $30,000 guarantee. So perhaps an overlay, which is some value for the Friday night folks on the September 5th. So congratulations. This ended in a 5-way chop. First place in this 5-way chop was Levon Tavitian. Second place, Hui Nguyen, who's been putting his name in these top 8s on the Commerce Hold'em series like crazy. Third place, Nika Futterman, who was the one we pointed out, got that big ship up at the Win a couple weeks ago. So congrats, Nika. Fourth place, Tien Pu Kyun. Yeah. Fifth place, Tyson Sullivan. That was the last of the choppers. Sixth place, Bo Moneymaker. Seventh place, Hambone Jeremy Hamey. Eighth place, Grisha Bakhtaravian. Bakhtavorian. And ninth place, rounding out the final table here, was Kikorsho Zemude.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, I think I got close. I got pretty close. Congrats to that final table. Oh, and we also, Franklin, 15th, getting a cash in there. Unfortunately for you two, this one I'm pretty sure wasn't on our Player of the Year, but well done on the cashes and the chop. It does count for the Player of the Series.
It looks like Nika's building up some momentum for herself, so see how it goes.
Nice. I do wish Player of the Series, they should come up with a snappier name, because every time I see Frank type POS, I'm like, I got to see what the rest of the sentence is before I know what we're talking about. All right.
Yeah, that's where my brain first goes to.
I know, right? It's like, oops. That Saturday, event number 10, the 100K guarantee. I believe I showed up for this and busted out of this guy. It's a couple weeks ago now, so it's hard to remember. September 6th, the $400 entry had 438 entries for a prize pool of 144,000 and a half. And this one ended in looks like a four-way chop. Yep, this one ended in a four-way chop. For some reason, Larry didn't want a picture, but we all know Larry. He's got his picture. Why would you not want a picture? You already got your banner on the wall at the bike. So,
wow,
I know. Look at this top four. Look at this top table. This is just the reggiest reg crowd. These are all the blasters.
What is this?
This final table went straight to the moon. They had enough blaster power to get into orbit for sure. Congratulations to Larry Kwong, getting first place, a little over 23 grand for that first place in the chop. Second place, Mr. Mike Escondiari. I still don't know why but he calls himself the CBK, the comeback kid here. He got second in that chop for 21 grand. Third place, Ilya Speiner, 18.8 for that. And then fourth place, Kwok Lee, taking home almost 17 grand for his fourth place chop. So just the chop alone, quite a set of names that we are very familiar with. Congrats, all you guys. But let's carry on. Fifth, Tian Yi Mu, who we were potentially confusing for Tuan Yi Ma, but there's also another Tian Yi Ma, right? So
he's a reg, though. He plays a lot.
Definitely. Sixth, Mr. Aaron Zhang, Zilong Zhang. And seventh, Paul Liu, also super reg, right? Eighth, Sigil Zeno. And ninth, rounding out the final table, Christopher Hilling. That's probably the name the last two are probably the names I'm least familiar with.
What a ridiculous final table for 100K. That's
and
just ridiculous.
To get through those landmines. See, Derek, doesn't that give you hope? There must be some skills involved. Maybe they're just not GTO skills, you know?
I guess so. I mean, I got to do something different.
That black magic that Mike and Aaron and Q and Larry have, like they're consistent. They're pretty consistent. So it's just some other kind of magic. You got to know how to talk to the people, Derek. You got to know how to talk to the people.
Look at this top 20, 11.
Yeah, we got Taxi in the 11th, yeah.
We got Nancy Matson in 18th. We got Alex Avilla in 20th. Unbelievable.
I know, right? So this was a pretty good representation of what our Player of the Year race could end up looking like, except for we're not on it.
Our POY leader finished 29th.
Oh, got himself some more points, trying to keep himself padded. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done to everyone. Oh, you did cash this one. You were that's right. This is the one where they folded when you were all in on the big blind and they folded.
Oh, is this on min cash?
This is your min cash, so this got you some points.
Oh.
This is the one you shouldn't have, because you're Derek Kwok Kwan, right?
Yeah.
You should not have cashed this one. Somebody messed up big time.
Yeah, that's super funny.
Yep, free money though. Let's take it. All right.
Yeah.
So then the night event that day, event 12, the $400 No Limit Hold'em X. Oh no, that wasn't the night event. It's just the next day. 100K guarantee. Look at this. Another familiar name. It's been a little while since I've said his name in the top here. So congratulations. This looks like a three-way chop. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Mr. Cheng Chen Fan, who apparently, he's pretty good at bounties apparently. Last time I played with him was, and Michael Ung in second place. So Mike's going to be climbing the leaderboard a bit as well with these, the last set of results once he's getting there. Unfortunately, Mr. Cheng Chen apparently no longer likes to play Teddy KGB at the tables. He used to quote him constantly and quite consistently. Someone else will have to pick up the mana. But congratulations to Cheng Chen and Michael for 1 and 2 in the chop. Third place, Aresh Montezerol Zohor. And fourth place, Andrew Banoob. Actually, it looks like a three-way chop for sure. So fourth place, Andrew Banoob. Fifth place, Fovyang Kyokam. Sixth place, Kekorso Zemude. 7th place, Oleg Bakov. 8th place, Brendan Russell. And 9th place, Xinyang Shu. I do not think these incorporate the bounties, but I could be wrong. It looks pretty consistent, so I don't think these incorporate the bounties. So who knows how many 1K bounties they got in addition to these prize payouts.
Looks like the bounty is the column next to the prize money.
Oh, there's okay, I see. That's a separate. So prize money plus bounty. So yeah, Mr. Chen coming out pretty nice here with the 19 plus the 7 bounties. Okay. Not bad at all. Yeah. So congrats to all of them.
Audley Harrison, 14th.
Yep, Andrew Cha, 13th. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, another thing too is just like was frustrated by Saturday, and I was just like, I'm not playing this tournament on Sunday, and I just totally skipped the 1K in the money value.
Beth Hall 40th, so picking up one there as well. Yep. I didn't come to this one either. Spending more family time at home, but it looked like a fun one. All right, so that is event 12. Event 13, which was the Monday matinee. This one pulled in 104 entries to pretty much almost exactly hit its guarantee. This one winner was Luis Augusto Buezos. I believe he took down one of the ones that did count over at the bike. And this was a 3-way chop with Luis and Jinwoo Kim and Reginald Samia. So congrats to you three for the chop. Rest of the final table here, Paul Cho, Alan Mohemani, Edgar Gabrielian, Henderin Kusumadilaga, David Phillips in 8th, and in 9th place, Nicholas Dizes. And you know what? There's only 2 more cashes, so here we go. 10th place was Mark Wayman, and 11th was Joshua Hanner. So congrats to all the cashers in that one. My tongue is going to be very grateful for the break, though. One thing when we stop this thing is not having to read everybody's full names out. My tongue's going to thank me for that, at least.
Pronouncing Armenian name, though.
I know, right? I don't even know, though. I could be completely butchering every single one. I know a couple people have said you just completely messed my name up, and they just laughed. So event 14, the $150 Monday nightcap. This had 51 entries. So congratulations to Yu Zhao. As you can see, he got the nightcap. The nightcap gets the smaller trophy. So Yu Zhao takes home first place. There was no chop, wins it outright over Raul Campos. And third place, Samuel Matiroshians. And fourth was Danette Smith. And fifth was Matthew Dean. So congrats to all the cashers in the nightcap. No chop. Let's go.
Nice work.
Event 15, $250 knockout bounty on September 9th, 108 entries. So this one also just barely beat its guarantees. So, that's kind of rough. They've had to sweat their guarantees. He's beating them by less than 10 people. Jeez. First place, David Phillips. Read his name a second ago. So congrats getting that trophy here. This looks like it was a top two deal. Oh, and they even give details when they talk. Look, David got more money and Walter got the trophy. So David is top here with the money, but Walter Smiley actually got the trophy. Congrats to Walter Smiley. Another legend of the game here, right? Fourth and third place, Elshin Eliev. Fourth place, Ki Shao. Fifth place, Angel River Gallo. Sixth place, Mahmoud Shariati. Is that Mike Shariati? Is that his real name? Mahmoud?
I'm not sure.
Because that's his name, right? Shariati?
Yeah, I mean, that has to be him.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, 7th place, Morgan Saul. 8th place, Freeman Gokani. And 9th place, Ami Lamani. And 2 more cashers. So 10th place, James Zulaika. And 11th place, George Halu. Mamma mia. Congrats to everyone in that knockout bounty. All right, event 16, $150 no limit hold'em knockout bounty. This was the afternoon tournament, no guarantee, 56 entries, so half as many. Taking this one down in a 2-way chop, even chop. Artur Virabian and second, Jinwoo Kim. Man, Jinwoo Kim is in all these. He's got to be rivaling George for like Commerce Reg at this point. I see his name so much. Shan Hao Jin third. Jose Luis de Paz Ascal fourth. Daniel Zhang fifth. Daniel Anguiano sixth. And Derek Evans seventh.
Maybe there is some, because I always said that these dailies are unbeatable, as in that you can't just constantly final table and win these things.
Right.
But then you get George, you got Jeremy Becker, who kind of made his name from, they're not as low as this, but, he made a name from doing that too. So I guess there is just like a very specific strategy that I just don't have in my brain for these.
Yeah, yeah. And it really reinforces that fact where, like, look, guys, if you're playing GTO all the time, especially in these more casual events, you're just lighting your money on fire. You can do so much better, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, winning a little bit more often than random is really good if everybody's top players, but winning just a little bit more often than you're supposed to against terrible players isn't that good, right?
All right. Right.
All right. So the $30,000 guarantee monster stack. This was a looked to be a really fun event because it was that same structure we've been seeing really pretty good structure. Really enjoying for these one days. But you start with 50K in chips. So talk about the play. This had 159 players. And first place in this was Mr. Rob Wild Gill. And he got there with a 6-way chop, I believe it says here. 6-way chop. So Mr. Gill, congrats, gets his trophy. Second place in that chop, Audley Harrison. We were just talking his name a second ago there. Third place, Mr. Withheld. So, very creative there from the city of Withheld. But fourth place, George Halou, just like you were talking about, newly minted Commerce Pro honorary. I saw him with the jacket, anyways. Fifth place, Nicholas Olivetti. Sixth place, Thomas Smith. Seventh place, Tao Shan. Eighth place, Kwok Lee. And ninth place, Mark Flagel. Just on the border of the final table here was David Rosenblum. And let's see, Franklin cashed this one in 14th as well. Paul Liu again, 16th. So
Franklin is always in the POY standings, man. He just shows up on every sheet.
yeah, but this one's not going to be for Player of the Year either, as I had to inform Rob when he begged us to put it on there now that he won the thing. But no, we have all the events posted far ahead. Take a look at the event list. If you think I missed something, let me know. You can't ask for it to go on after you win it. It's just not fair.
How come this one didn't make it with the 30K guarantee?
I don't know. If you had made a good case, I might have put it on. I think probably because most of the guarantees for the one days in this series had been larger. So when I looked down, it looked like a smaller one. Typically I look for things that are more towards the weekends, and B, just like how is it in relative to the rest of the series, kind of like if all of their quote unquote big events are 50 and 100, then those are usually the ones I take. If all their big events are 50 and 30, then I would take those. I kind of try and eyeball it like that. So, but like I said, it's not a hard science. So take a look. If you guys take a look at what's up there for Big Poker October and you think something's wrong, let me know now. We can fix it. But once it starts, it's a little bit late. All right, and then the nightcap, the 150 nightcap, we have another familiar smiling face. Look at these two photogenic folks, the last two here. Clearly they're actors. Beth gets herself both size trophies from this series. She get the big one for the seniors event and the little one for the nightcap. So here we go. Congrats, Beth. She got first place in no chop. And she apparently, this puts her in second place for the player of the series, apparently, by winning two of these things, and this one being a no chop and the last one being maybe a heads up chop. Or no chop, I don't remember.
Count, though, right? This doesn't count, though, right?
This not for us, but for the player of the series.
Oh, player of the series.
Yeah, it doesn't count for player of the year for us. Not
yeah.
LA Poker Roundup player of the year, but all of these events count for player of the series.
He's leading.
She's second according to this paper here.
Who's first?
I have no idea. I don't think they posted that. We can take a look when I get back to there. But congrats on this nightcap. Had 104 people in it, so pretty popular one. Beth got first. George Montoya got second. Frederick Stallworth third. Cherul Ichsan fourth. Shmuel Dasa for fifth. Daniel Harari sixth. Michael Moorfield seventh. Vladislav Simonenko eighth. Trina Newberry 9th, and then Arthur Varabian 10th, and Tal Glickman 11th. So congrats to everyone who cashed that.
I know you said that winning the main would just give you so many points that it basically rockets you to the top of the thing.
Absolutely.
But it seems patently unfair to say that I had a bullshit min cash where I squeaked into the money with 1.8 BBs.
Yep.
And then I win the main, and then I somehow win. It just feels
you almost certainly would.
I played 4 events.
Yeah, if you win the main, you are I guarantee you, if you win the main, you're top 4 in the Player of the Year race.
And if you cashed a couple of other,
in the Player of the Series, yeah. Because she's in second in the Player of the Series, winning. I bet she has 50 points. Is my guess. Sub 60. Yeah. I bet she has sub 60 points. And if you get first in the main, you're gonna get 180, 170 points.
It just feels a little bit overweight, but I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah.
hopefully they tweak it. A little later. Hopefully they tweak it, but we'll see. Okay, those are all of the official results that they have up on the Commerce site. We do happen to know who won the big multi-day, the first multi-day. So congratulations to John Dollinger. He took down the 300K guarantee. And I don't know, however, if it was a chop or what. I exited that thing halfway through, very very boringly, very not very excitingly at all. So congrats. And we also know that John took down, he also, like Beth, has now a large trophy and a small trophy, because I think the very next day he played the night event and he shipped that guy. So congratulations on your matching mama and baby bear trophies, even though they're not really bears. I guess I can't say that with the Commerce trophies because they used to have bear trophies that we're hoping they
Oh,
bring back.
sorry. I think I slighted end boss Jeremy Hamey talking about dailies, and I said Jeremy Becker, but also
Yeah, yeah,
Jeremy Hamey. Actually,
yeah.
that's another very good point. Like, here's a guy, I call him end boss
Yeah,
because of how well he does in
he
dailies.
probably final tables like 1.5 dailies a week. So
Right, it's kind of nuts.
which is a lot when there's only like 7 days in a
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So also, as I mentioned before, up in Vegas at the Venetian, they were doing the Poker Go thing. They were doing the I don't know. It was a pretty big Poker Go series. They had their big classic, like a 1 million guaranteed 3K, which this man, Rick Meshamil, did cash on his first bullet, 1A, did pretty well. But we got him up here because in the sort of consolation round, the 5K high roller that happened, I believe it's a 1-day event too, drew 62 people in the field, and Rick battled his way amongst the likes of Jeremy Osmus and John Little and Steven Song and John Colopy and Shannon Shore and Brock Wills, just
Jesus,
nobodies. He battled his way up into fourth place. So congratulations.
nice. Wow, was
Yep.
stacked. Yeah.
Yeah, this is insane. I mean, there were only 60 something people in this event, but like, look at this top final table. Like, this is not a final table where Derek would not look at this final table and be like, man, people are so lucky to get to this final table. There's got to be so lucky and just win so many lucky flips and just, it's just terrible. Like, you cannot
I
say
mean,
that here.
there's literally not one soft spot on that table at all. Like, everyone on that table is an
There's
absolute
not even
crusher.
like a medium spot. There's not even like a,
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't. I mean, if you just had to eyeball, like, what do you think the lifetime earnings is at the table? I mean, just between like Osmus, Wilson, Zobian, who are all Shore, who play all the high
Yeah,
bowlers.
the average Hendon for this table is well over. I bet it's well over 2 million. The average Hendon, like added up and divided,
Oh, for
right? Yeah,
sure,
it's
for
probably
sure.
like
It
over
might, it,
3 million.
it's probably like it actually might be like 6 or 7 million. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
wow,
So
unbelievable.
way to go, Rick. Rick had made a big deal about saying, he's going to play much less in LA, bring back 1 million guarantees, bring back traditional tournaments, and he's just going to Vegas, proving why that's what he wants. Give it to him, he'll kill it.
Yeah, that's funny. He literally just said that to us on
I
Instagram.
know,
We're
right?
just like, I'm not. Yeah, actually, this is just maybe a note to the card rooms here in LA. Like, Rick has basically just rage quit
Yep.
all the LA tournaments, and
Yeah,
he's just like,
for
I'm
good
not playing them
reason.
anymore.
For good reason. We talk about it all the time. But
Yeah,
he's
nice.
just proving why this other format is better for him, and potentially maybe it is more skill expressive. As Derek complains about, potentially.
Yeah, but I think that his complaints kind of range around just kind of getting sick of quantums, kind of getting sick of so many low guarantees, and
Hmm.
there's just better spots elsewhere. And I think this is just a fear because Rick isn't alone. I think this is why we're so untapped in Southern California and Los Angeles, because there's many people like him who have jobs and expendable income and are pretty good at poker and want to play. And now they're actually just going to go and eat the cost of going to Vegas, right, to go play poker, and
Yep.
that's terrible.
Yep. Now, on that note, it's kind of funny to mention eat the cost going to Vegas because Rick actually told us that for that day two, or for that, for that extra day he had to stay there, he actually couldn't find a hotel room, so he ended up sleeping. What did he say? He slept in his car or something that night, or he slept at
He slept at the airport.
slept at the airport. Yeah, he slept at the airport. He said. Rick, you got to send us a message. We know people. We might be able to help you out, bro. But still, like, that's
Yeah,
funny.
Mike Ong will just get you a room.
Exactly. Yeah, he would rather go sleep at the airport than play in a quantum, is what he's telling us, though. And Frank's pointing out John won that outright, no chop, so he's going to catapult himself way up our Player of the Year standings with that for sure. So he'll be definitely contending with the current top of our standings, which we will get to in just a moment.
Everyone look out though. I'm a late bloomer, just like I was last year. I think I was like in the hundreds,
Yeah,
right? And all of a sudden I
you're a
was
late
like,
bloomer. Wait for Frank.
yeah. Oh yeah, Frank is a super late bloomer,
All
right?
right. Yeah, you know what? We were gonna jump into how our weekends went right now, but since we're talking about it, why don't we just jump into the Player of the Year? So our Player of the Year finally has enough results to be something interesting. So basically, it's kind of our take on the bikes Player of the Series, except big asterisks as far as the bike series. It wouldn't be because we're not including the quantums, which are the biggest tournaments. But as a start for our Player of the Year, which does not include quantums because that's too much math. Congratulations taking the early lead to Mr. John Missirian, who won the Park West Classic. It was no chop, right? Was it chop? I forget. It must have been no chop. So congrats to John. It's only been like 3 weeks, but it's actually been a month because I had to leave that tournament because of the baby, so it's been a month. Congrats. He is currently on top of our points, trailed pretty closely by Nick Karashi. So I saw John getting some more points at the Commerce Hold'em series. We said his name a few times, so he's going to pad that a little bit. And those two have a sizable lead on the next person on the list, which is Steve Agupian, followed by Nam Kim and Dylan Nguyen. Now, that being said, the people coming up after that, I don't recognize some of those, like Steve. I'm not as familiar with Steve or Nam right now, but maybe you are. But like after that, we got Huy Nguyen, Falk Nguyen, Mark Weinstein. Not as familiar with Daniel, but Jackie, and then Frank, and then Samuel. Like these are all a lot of the regs names. So I see a lot of already just after one series. I'm seeing a lot of the folks I am not surprised at seeing near the top. So really cool. And also, the folks from before haven't gotten off to a quick start, like you point out. Other than Frank, who's just outside the top 10, you're not up there yet. Elvin's not up there yet. So we've got a long way to go. Remember, it's going to be a long marathon of a race. Our Player of the Year is a marathon sprint, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Last year, I think Aaron jumped out to an early lead, and he kept it for a pretty long time. But it's a marathon. You gotta keep hanging on. You gotta keep hanging on. So yeah, I don't know. Taking a look down the list, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you see the sprinkling of all the regs a little bit further down, but I think that was the same thing last year. All the best players started to consolidate towards the top eventually, or at least the people that were playing semi-frequently.
Yeah, and it does hurt some of the big heavy hitters, obviously, for us to exclude the two big quantums, right? Or the three quantums they did, because that means like I see Sammy, right? I see Sammy down here in the where I just had him. Do you see him? Literally.
Yeah, he's 25th.
There you go. I see Sammy here in 25th, but he also got. Oh wait, did he get second in the classic, or did he get second in one of the quantums? I thought it was one of the quantums. Maybe it was the classic.
I think it was one of the quantums.
I thought he did well in one of the quantums. Maybe it was a classic, but I thought it was one of the quantums.
No, actually, it was the classic.
Oh, was the classic?
That was the one where. Yeah, that was the one where he was at my table, and I did that crazy like losing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, in any event, there are obviously we got some big names and big folks really deep in those quantums, so they will have to pick up their points in other areas. But even with them out, I'm just reading down this list. I would really like to see a slightly different mix of regs near the top by the end of the year. But let's see, we've got Sean Gill here, 31st, and we just read his name off. I don't remember if that one counted, but he had just gotten a really good score in the classic there. We got Rocky here. He was doing well for a while, but at the very end he couldn't play as much. We've got Mr. James Leo here. Jonah, Sophia, all right in a row. I'm down here in the 40s with my second place from that one event. So we've got a lot of time. And Thui, I think he just final tabled this 400, this 300K guarantee, so he's going to shoot up. So we got all sorts of play left. So guys, if you are interested in getting, and I really loved seeing how much people started caring about this and kind of, I don't know if needling each other. In some cases they were, but I really like seeing people care about this. I know that the folks that are closest around, like Frank and Jeremy and even Rob, right? Rob cares. People care, especially once they start climbing, but it's neat. That's neat. So
It's
keep your
pretty
eye on
wild
this.
that this guy in 15th has 93K. He's in 15 plays. Sammy is 70K in 25th. Pretty wild that these
Yeah.
guys, there's two guys with 50K. Like the 21st person is 56K.
Mm-hmm.
14 Jeremy Mintz is 53K.
Cool.
Um, hmm,
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
and that's how the system's set up. We're looking for consistent finishes in big fields and volume, so we're looking for the grind in this particular race. This race is more about the grind as opposed to, the player of the series over Commerce, which is much more about the big score, the big splashy
Yeah.
finish, right? And
Yeah.
after just one series, we are tracking currently about 800 people after the one series. If I recall,
Nice.
last year we got into well into the 2000s or something, like mid upper 2000s, I think, total tracking people. So
It makes me feel better about third place because I beat that many people.
yeah, yep, there were a lot. There were a lot. Very cool. All right, so that is the Player of the Year race update. This weekend, how did things go for us this weekend? For once, I am the one who gets to report on the multi-day. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to do that, and unfortunately Derek and Frank and the rest of the boys did not make the second day. But you know what I tell you guys? You didn't miss much, because if you ran the way I did, not really missed anything. I bagged a good one on day 1C, or was it 1B? I don't know. I bagged a good one. On the second day I played, it wasn't the last day, so I think it was 1B. I came into the day, I think, fourth in chips or so. Had 750K. Very good stack at the 8K level. And boy, I think last year I remember one time on one of the one days when I came in with like second in chips or something, and I was just incredibly card dead, and then I got tens and busted immediately. It was kind of like that, and that one was at Commerce as well. That one was also at Commerce. I remember being really annoyed that day because I just didn't get to play like raised ace or like raised king queen. Once got like all in 3-bet and folded, and then just played zero more hands until I got tens and folded or busted or something like that. It was just like that this day. The very first time I'm in the big blind, I got one of the best hands I got all day, but little did I know that would be the case. I got ace jack. I bricked, whatever. It's the first hand I played in the day, no big deal. I get tens. I win the blinds, more or less. I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is normal. And little did I know that would pretty much be the last hand I played all day. I had almost nothing going on. I had very aggressive. My opening table draw was insane. It was probably the toughest table in the room until it broke, which thankfully was fairly early. And that wasn't even the problem, though. The problem was I had no cards. And I am pretty sure in the first hour and a half or so, I got 3-bet more times than I didn't, and I got 3-bet more times than pots I won, which is very unusual, especially for an LA tournament, for those of you watching, especially not here in LA. We are not like Vegas aggro, type tables. Typically, you're much more likely to go multi-way than to get 3-bet. And I swear, I got 3-bet probably, I wasn't opening as often as I usually do because my cards are terrible. And I probably got 3-bet over 60% of the time for the first times, for the first hour and a half. And I think I'm not joking. Sometimes this is hyperbole, but I really don't think I won more than 5 hands. I never won a showdown, and I never lost more than 100K in a pot. And I just went down, 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 down. So started the day with 99 players. I basically blinded my way out and lost small pots to 52nd. So what are you going to do? And the last couple hands were annoyingly frustrating. I open sixes from like +2 or something, which is probably the worst, or maybe +1. I don't remember, like probably the worst pair I'm going to open there. And then Rudy jams on me, but like we're both incredibly short. I had like 11 big blinds and he had like 5, maybe 6. So, I'm behind, I'm calling, and I actually flop a straight draw and my pair, and then I turn a flush draw and the straight draw my pair, and I brick all of that. So, it was frustrating. That didn't bust me out. What busted me out was when somebody also short stacked, then jammed on my big blind, and then there's a rejam, and I looked down at ace queen, which was literally the second best hand if you count tens as a better hand than that. The best hands I got dealt all day were ace queen, ace jack, and tens, which sound great, but that was it. I don't think, I think those were literally the 3 best hands, and by far, I don't think there's another hand I even should have really played other than those. So they jammed with king jack, tens rejammed on them, and I had ace queen, and of course the king jack took that one down. Even though I did hit a queen, so that was fun. So yeah, bust out of that. Meh, didn't get to play much. Went over to the bounty. I was planning on kind of rage playing that one, just punting it off, blasting off as much as I could. But for some reason over there, I got great cards and everything hit. So I ran it up pretty good. Was getting close. I got was like 10 off the money in that thing, and that was a pretty. Was that a 100K guarantee as well? That was a pretty big. No, it was a 50K guarantee, I think. We had a decent turnout though. I think it was 320 players in that thing. So we're like 10 off the money, and I have a slightly above average stack, and so like dailies and like aggro players, like they were playing very aggressively. Lost a flip for about a third of my stack, so now I'm just a little under average, and then a really wild player opens, bets, jams turn with underpair, turn gut shot, or underpair, gut shot, turn open ended. I have top pair and open ended to the higher end, and we're out. So unfortunately, did not get to make up for any of that bad luck. Just had a little bit of a run to build a stack and lose it all right before the bubble. So, I guess poker-wise, that tournament was fun. As far as making money goes, none of it really, not much of it happened that day. I should have just sent my card in, let my stack blind off, and picked it up next week. I don't believe you even came that whole day, though, right, Derek?
Nope. I skipped Sunday
Okay.
after not making day 2. Yep.
Anything fun from your day ones? Did you play every day one? I think you played every day of the day ones, right? But you didn't play the turbo?
I did. Yeah, I didn't play the turbo was the only one that I skipped. Yeah, I ran incredibly bad in all of them. I mean, there's so many bad hands and bad beats and coolers that happened that I can't remember all of them, but I did basically lose 2 really big pots late with ace king into kings like twice, which is sort of ridiculous. Those pots probably would have carried me into the money pretty easily, assuming they're like bad beats. When there's a bunch of other stuff where even early on like my second or third bullet on Saturday, like I basically turned a straight with Jack 9 on 10 Queen King, and somebody had Ace Jack. So basically just stacked off on like my first or second hand on that bullet or something like that. And I actually ran into like aces and kings other than the ace king hands. Ran into aces and kings like multiple times and busted. Then one time I got aces, I actually got bad beat by king 10 when the person turned to a pair. So it was a really, really rough day. But then the very last bullet that I fired on Saturday, I started off great. Like I actually flopped a straight on my like first hand that I played, and then turned a straight on another hand that I played, and I quickly like tripled my stack. And then after that, just sort of went downhill, more bad beats, and stuff.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very frustrating tournament. But I just feel like this is kind of the same thing that's been happening to me for quite some time. But hopefully I'll be able to turn around and move my way up the POY standings. But right now things are going pretty bad.
It might be time to ask some of these old timers, the guys that final tabled that 100K with Larry, to some tips to beat down on these guys, man. It might.
Yeah, you know what?
It might be.
I have a show. Where you can
get
come
him on
and
there.
give 10-minute. Get 10-minute poker tips.
You might want to,
in.
get Larry. Well, Larry probably won't tell you a thing, but that's the problem with these guys is they won't tell you. They won't talk.
It's very close to the vest.
They won't talk.
Yeah.
The flight I did bag. So one thing that was annoying about my day 2 flight, and this is, I think this is slightly more likely one. So it used to be with Commerce, you would bag up and you wouldn't know your table seat assignments until right before you came in, because like they would do them on a spreadsheet or something, and then they would get assigned and posted, right? Now, I guess with Cabin, it looks like they're moving back towards the kind of what the bike does, where they have a bunch of those slips of paper they hand out when you bag up, right? So this might be a side effect of that, which is annoying, is that I played, the one I bagged was the second flight, the B flight, I believe, and we actually went the latest of any flight. We went to the 15K level, which was great for us for building stacks, because when you are a big stack at your table and you're stealing the blinds, and we're going to roll back to 8K, I'm actually stealing like 4.5 blinds per time instead of 2.5, right? Or, almost 5 blinds a time when I steal the blinds at that level until someone bags. But what ended up happening, though, is that my table, we had the number 2 and the number 4 big stack, and there were 11 tables on day 2. And we had at least 5. I don't know about the others. I didn't check, but it was confirmed that at least 5 of us, of the 9, were all from that same flight, right? So there were 4 flights, and we were not the biggest flight. And over half the table is all from the same flight. So it's just kind of, it's like it's still random-ish. It's just not that random. It's like annoying, right? So, but it is what it is. Yeah. So hopefully Derek can turn it around. If, like I said, if you win, and honestly, if you just do well in the main, and then you go and you play the 1K that's going to happen on the last day of the series, and you win that one, that's still going to be a ton of points for the player of the series. So you still have a very real chance at the player of the series.
Yeah, I am playing my out of my mind for that main event. I am just playing some angry poker.
Oh boy, yeah, look out, guys, look out. Derek's coming at you angry. If he runs good, it's going to be all the chips. But yeah, when I saw the player of the series, the way it broke down, I asked Kevin to make sure it wasn't a typo. And his first response was, said, well, there are some people out there who think that the Grinders should have won the player of the year, the World Series. So that was kind of it is probably a little bit of a cheeky response, but that was his response. So he's aware of how this affects things, and he's aware of the way it skews things, and it is by design for now, but we'll see if it's what they want later. Yeah. But, on the other hand, I do appreciate that it is kind of, in a way, sort of adding 4K to the prize pool of the main event, as opposed to the bike forcing all the main events to get an entry into the other tournament, which is sometimes taking away from the prize pool if the players weren't planning on playing it, right? So it's nice to add instead of take away. It's just, I don't know. You might as well just make it an add-on to the main event instead of calling it player of the series.
Right.
It's like, I don't
And
know.
Bear in the chat saying basically Quack Lee can come and give a 10-minute poker tip, and here he was actually one of the Ace King's hands. It was a raise under the gun from a big huge stack, and then Quack had a little bit over what I had. We probably had about like 20 bigs at the time, and maybe 15 off the money or something. He rips. I look down. I have Ace King, and I just immediately just like, here we go. Like I mean, first of all, like I do know that Quack is very very tight in that kind of spot with his stack. With his ability, not being able to take some crazy risks. He's not the kind of guy that's punted in there with Ace Queen suited or something over a race like that from early position. But obviously Ace King is still too strong to fold. Pretty much it should be a snap call for me, but I sat there and actually tanked about it for a minute trying to work out, like, could he have jacks here or something? Can we go down as far as tens to make this a semi like profitable call, because there is no Ace Queen in the range here. I ended up just side calling it off because I don't think I can give up Ace King with 20 bigs, and he actually ended up having kings and he tripled. The person who was on the gun, for some reason decided to call off with Ace Queen offsuit.
Because you tanked for so long, man. You tanked for so long. He
I tricked him.
obviously
Maybe
thought that meant your hand stunk.
he must have gotten there with deuces.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
It's funny.
enough complaining.
It's funny hearing people's recollections too, because someone at my day 2 table was at that table with you, and he was, because they were asking where you're at, and I'm like, he's not here. He don't get him started. He'll you don't, if you want to tilt him, ask him where he is. And he's like, oh yeah, and they recalled that hand, and his memory was terrible. First off, he thought that Quack just jammed under the gun, open jammed under the gun. I'm like, no, there's no way he open jammed under the gun with kings. He thought he did. I'm like, maybe that first guy limped under there. He's like, I don't, maybe that's why I thought it was big blind. He limped. I'm like, that's not what Derek said though. So it's just funny to see everyone else's recollection of hands. Guy just thought Q jammed under the gun, and that the big blind woke up with Ace Queen and decided to call.
Took 20 bigs and ripped it he also wouldn't do something like that.
I don't think you do that. No.
Yeah,
It
it was
seems not great.
100% UTG raise. UTG 1 was Quack with a rip, and then I was UTG 3 or UTG 2 with unfortunately the Ace King, and we kind of got it all in. Some very very powerful hands, early position. Nothing could be done.
Yep. All right. So that is how our weekends went. We are not finding a ton of success at the Commerce Hold'em series. I can blame volume. I'm playing probably about half as much as I would, which is a lot more than I thought I'd be able to. But man, it's the little one's been great. He's been doing really well. Been his mother's been handling everything great. We've been getting a decent amount of sleep, and now we got a little extra family help coming around. So I'm loving it. I'm playing way more than I thought I would, which is still half as much as I usually do. So, and Derek's just angry. Derek's just angry. I think
angry.
you know what? I gotta find you like a little Hulk Funko or something to play with. Maybe that'll work.
That should be my.
Yeah, you
Actually,
should
I
have a
should have.
Hulk.
You know what? You should have one that like it's like Bruce Banner, and then you like
Well,
turn
they
it around.
have. I'm sure they have lots of those. I'm sure they have a bunch of stuff like that. We got to find them one. So guys, keep an eye out for something. Derek needs the Hulk. He needs Bruce Banner and the Hulk, for sure. I've seen people with Thor stuff, so there's got to be out there. All right. So let's get something a little more casual. Our favorite topic, content in poker content, right? So pads, kind of like the meme where it's like nobody asked and then somebody just decides to come out with it. He's decided I've somehow completely disconnected from all poker streams, high stakes cash, Tritons, even these 10-minute heads up matches. But I grew up literally waiting till high stakes poker was released in the UO at 5 a.m. to watch it. The stakes are so much bigger, but it just feels like something is missing, question mark. And he's saying he could tell you the top 30 pots in high stakes poker history, who was in them, what the action was. He watched Jamie Gold versus Farha 100 times, but for some reason, whenever he watches, puts a stream on, in less than 3 minutes, he's done with it now. And is it the characters? I don't know. I can't describe it. So what do you think? I tend to agree a lot with what Sam says right here, because they were edited into TV shows and there's a lot less, well, also there was less content back then, that I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the curation definitely makes things more watchable, but when Poker Go first came out, I was like consuming every possible tournament stream I could. It was like, Chidwick's on this one, 100% watching it, right? Shulman is commentating, 100% watching it. I watch every single one, consume them. But now I kind of feel like someone, all the billion cash game streams that are on like all week, I don't think I watch one of them at all. I'll catch like a clip on Twitter or something, just look at it and be like, oh, that was kind of cool. But I have no kind of desire to watch those cash game streams. And then not even the tournament streams, I'm not watching as much anymore. So I think he's right that I am kind of getting a little bit fatigued from it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think that the saturation part of it, but for me, I think it's the saturation combined with the fact that because they're not edited, because they're just people put up a stream and don't think about it, right? There's so many, like, there was a stream here in LA where it was just the home game. There's a couple of those. They're just everywhere that there's just so much kind of filler content without basically bad content, right? They're just kind of, it's like, it's boring. There's no pacing. The commentary is not necessarily engaging, or like there's no direction to it. Like there's so much of that kind of content that it's just so easy for it to all blend together, for it to all mush together, for it to all feel, as soon as the pacing drags on one, you're reminded of the other one that was boring, and it all just goes together, right? So
I did put that as one of my points. I did like quote tweet this, and I got 84 likes, 30K views, which is pretty good. So my points here were that back then, actually, even so before the Poker Go streams, like back then the high stakes poker, it was like Dwan and Antonius and Ivy and Daniel and Locke and Antonio, right? Farha. These guys were like bigger than life, like true poker celebrities. They had aura, and we like went out and watched them, right?
Yep.
We really revere them as a community, and we don't really have the same kind of developed characters these days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And also I think to your point a little bit, it's not just like, yes, the curation helps, but there's so much poker content constantly being streamed, and it's like hand after hand after hand. And I said, like, collectively, how many hands of poker are we capturing on video a month? It's insane.
Yeah,
how many we are,
absolutely.
right? And then you're just watching them over and over again, and I was like, you know what, a lot of these high stakes cash streams are just whales playing terribly, punting, right, playing like any two cards and then just trying to like bad beat somebody. And that's like kind of fun to watch, and kind of fun to watch. It could be like, ooh, that hurt. But then does that just kind of get sort of meh after a little while? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to someone's point in here, it's like, does it really hurt a lot of these guys? Because the ones that are punting and playing like that, does it really hurt? Because I don't think it does. And if it doesn't really hurt, what's the point?
That's true.
What's the point? Like, we watched these old ones. I think that it was so much easier when, like, on the one hand, you can complain, oh, it was the same 10 guys, they'd pick 4 of them for every show and you'd always see the same guys. But that's why it was intriguing, because you could follow that guy through every show, through every content. It was always the same characters, just like your TV show is always the same ones, right? So now it's not just one TV show with the same characters that are developing. Now it's, a cable network worth of 100 different channels all showing the same thing, and they're all doing they're all doing something similar with different characters, and I don't remember anybody's name, and all the storylines mixed together. And what storylines? Because no one has storylines. All we think you want is something flashy and a whole bunch, throw a giant wad of money down and some cleavage, and that's what we think you want. It's
and you're actually right. I think back then, like the money's, these guys had money, but the money they put on the table kind of mattered. And you could tell that it mattered. I still vividly remember there was this hand where Guy Laliberté, who was the founder of Cirque du Soleil, obviously loaded, and he got into a basically $1 million pot with David Benjamin.
Hmm.
And then he offered, he actually, you could see David Benjamin get called and his face just turned white.
Yeah.
And then before any action came, he was just like, you know what, this money doesn't matter to me. I know it matters to you. I'll just split the pot with you right now.
Oh
And he just
man, what a
agreed.
nice guy.
Right.
Wow.
So you can just tell like these guys are putting a lot of money on the table, but that, they took a big hit. It hurt, right? It
Yeah.
would hurt.
Like that's
Yeah, you're
drama.
right.
That's
Yeah,
drama,
you're right.
right?
Like right now, you just have so number one, you have absolutely rich whales who just don't. It's like a rounding error, right, on like their weekly expenses.
Yeah.
But then everyone else is just like so swapped and backed and everything.
Hmm.
It's just not their money, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like if you knew Benjamin and you've been following him and you saw his career, you saw and you had any idea what he was worth or if he had to borrow for this game or if he blah blah blah, if you knew any of that and then that bet comes up, that's drama, right?
Yeah,
Whereas now, you watch like the stream creator game, they're throwing money around, right? And then you get Mr. Beast shouting like, "Let's flip for $1 million, let's flip for $1 million, let's flip for $1 million." That's exciting in like a moment, right? That's good. That's junk
yeah,
food, right? That's good for one quick second for a clip. But
yeah.
like, is that interesting? Let's flip for a million. Let's flip for a million. It's only interesting if he can get someone who can't afford to lose the million to do it with him, right?
I will play devil's advocate that streamer episode was probably one of the most fun streams I ever watched,
Right,
where it was
right.
like Tim and like Cortez and everything, and
For
like
sure.
Ninja like laughing in Helmut's face, right?
Uh huh.
That was a good one. But generally, you're right. It feel like the money doesn't matter, and I just almost just even though there's still like really good players that play these streams, obviously like Garrett Allison is still out there, but like it just felt so much more strategic back
Yeah.
then. Like I basically called out the example in my tweet where Tom Dwan had played a hand with 9-8 versus Ivy with
Uh
a6,
huh.
and Ivy got all the way to the river and basically called him with the six on this like insanely wet board after Dwan had missed, and they tanked for like a good like 6 or 7 minutes. I remember Ezra fell asleep at the table. It was really funny. And then
But
and
that's a
then Dwan
story,
was
right? Who
sitting
does
there.
that anymore? Does anyone fall asleep
Yeah,
at the
and,
table
and
anymore?
Dwan was sweating his balls off. He was like the lights were like getting into his eyes, and he was just sitting there. It was wild. But yeah, we don't get that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And the last point was that poker. I think poker pre Black Friday felt just a lot more like romantic and
Oh
fun. Like
yeah.
I always look back at those days with nostalgia, and I just feel like now everything's so robotic and serious.
Hmm.
And I think even in the comments there, basically Andy had said that it was like soul. Like it basically just seems like we lost poker's soul.
Yeah. I think, and then I'm looking at Ori Peleg's comment right after Andy's here, and I think if you read them quickly, they might sound like the same thing, but I think they're a little different. I think Andy's saying it's lost its soul and it's just algorithms, likes, and trying to outshine each other. I think he's kind of saying what I was mentioning with like shouting flip for a million around the table is great for a clip. It'll get you a lot of hits in a short, right? But
Yeah.
there's no depth to that really, right? And I agree with you. I thought that the streamer episode was one of the most fun episodes of poker for a while, but it had nothing to do with the stakes. It had nothing to do with anything. It had to do with bunch like Ninja, or was it Ninja, who knows probably very little about poker, laughing in Helmut's face, who's supposed to be the best tournament player in the world, right? It had to do with Keating, or it had to do with Botez trying her butt off and then making a good call and winning all that money. It had to do with like because that meant a lot to her, right? It had to do with that.
Yeah.
It didn't have to do with the
That's true.
actual stakes, right?
Yeah.
So I think Andy's saying it's all about like what I was kind of alluding to before. It's like, hey, it's just about algorithms. Like get some cleavage on there. Say a bigger number. Say $1 billion. It'll get the biggest clicks, And then, but I think what you're saying was almost more like what Uri's saying is, Ori, it's the solvers, right? Back then there was some mystery to it. It was romanticized because poker was a mysterious thing. There was no right answer. You could be creative and maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Now with the solvers, a lot of people think they're right. A lot of people, well, I mean, mathematically you can be right. And now it's just like a spot like that is exciting because it's not like, oh, what's he gonna do? How's he feel? How's he been playing? What is this guy looking him in the eye? Now you're like, well, he's so unbalanced here. He's got this percentage. He's got to call off with this part of his range. It's over. All right, so call. Right. So it's
Yeah,
like
that kind of. I
that
mean, that
part of
kind
the
of.
soul goes away.
Yeah, that kind of wasn't what I was saying with Soul, although I think that contributes. Certainly, the game being more solved
Yeah.
contributes to some roboticism. But I don't, and maybe, it is what Anthony Patessa is making a good point, and I kind of had dropped almost the same point by calling it nostalgia,
Hmm.
is that we tend to be nostalgic about
Oh,
things. We tend to
absolutely.
be romanticize things, from our younger years. So it could just be a lot of that. It just could be, like a bunch of us are now old men yelling at clouds saying, it was way better back in our day.
Yeah.
But when I just kind of even watch like older episodes now of the World Series of Poker, I'm just like, man, this was like glory
Yeah.
days, right? It feels objective. It doesn't actually, when I look at it that way, and I actually try to like
Yep.
take my brain out of it, I just remember these things more fondly. And I'm like, you know what? Back then, I was getting my ass kicked in tournaments all the time. I was so bad at tournaments, right? I was like pretty good at cash games, but I was getting crushed in tournaments. But I still was having so much fun just like doing all this stuff and like watching it. I remember actually. I was renting an apartment in Little Tokyo, and then you could also rent they had like a little like movie theater room in
Okay.
there, where they had like some seats, like some cushions, and then
Oh, cool.
like a big screen. So I invited a whole bunch of friends over. We would watch like the World Series of Poker main event, grab pizzas and stuff, and just like watch it in that little
Oh,
room. And I
that's
have
awesome.
pictures of it on my Facebook, right? So that was what it was like back then. I don't know if that was just like nostalgia or what, but it just feel that's what I mean by soul and like romantic. It just back then it just
Yeah.
was like all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree as well with Tessa that nostalgia makes everybody, all of us old men, think that old stuff was better back then, right? So you definitely have to be aware of that. And I think just phase of life as well, right? Like I feel like when you're, a teen into your 20s, you're much more likely to get locked into something and just obsess over it and watch it all and just like love it, right? And just suck it up, and that's like this is the best thing ever, right? So maybe a part of it is us kind of outgrowing that and doing what, but I,
It's
I
possible.
I have to agree with you though. Just thinking of it objectively from what we've talked about this before, the thing that's been missing, the thing they really need to bring back, in our opinion, I think your opinion as well, is it's that storytelling, right? The reason the World
Yeah.
Series streams are so great is they got infinite coverage. They went and interviewed people, got their backstories. They went to their hometowns. They talked to their brothers and their families sometimes, right? They would
Yeah.
dig and create the entire storyline and tell you this is why you should root for this guy or this is why you shouldn't root for
Yeah.
this guy. They would do all of that, and
It was
then they would show
it was
you a
like
hand, which was a
it
terrible
was
hand usually. Then they would show
right.
you a hand where something dumb happened, someone went all in, it was just a cooler, and then but who cares about the poker? It's about rooting for this guy who you now know is from your hometown or from the same state as you, and or who had a truck that's your truck or something, and like his mom's just like your like whatever. Like this now that is what is missing, and they never do that in streams, right? It's random
Yeah.
people sign up on the board, come and play, try and win money, right? And it's like
Right.
just
You
don't
you you you
care.
don't you don't care. You don't care
Yeah,
about them.
we just don't
Like,
care.
and they're just it's not nothing novel. Like every sports, like especially like boxing and UFC, the week before the fight, they have all these like videos and run-ups about their background and everything and their struggles and their training, right? Bringing you up
Right.
until the fight night,
Mm-hmm.
and then you care so much about the characters. But they also obviously do that for like basketball and
Yep.
professional like basketball players and football players and baseball players, all that stuff. They always give you like documentaries and backgrounds and stuff on them so that you actually end up caring.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that. We had that, and then we kind of stopped doing it.
Yep.
I think we're still, you still see it in like kind of bits and pieces here, but it's not very
It's
cohesive.
just
And
yeah, it's just so hard to do for poker because you don't know who's going to be the ones at the end that you care about. You don't know who's going to be in the finals, right? So ESPN could do that because they had the months to go. They could. It was held for months, and they could go do all that production. You can't show up at a tournament and say these two are going to be the guys at the end. We need to follow them through the whole tournament. We need to get their backstories and do the interviews, right? So that's why it's
yeah,
so hard because you obviously can't do that for all like 500 people in a tournament. But
right.
if you knew who the last two people are going to be and you could set it up appropriately and do the right coverage of them, sure, that could be a great production, but you just can't. So that really
Yeah.
hurts us as far as trying to be like a live production or almost live
I mean,
production.
it's kind of like the Hoop Dreams documentary, right? So, just kind of pick two people and kind of hope they make it, and neither of them made it, but it was still a compelling story. It would have been great
Yeah,
if they made it all the way
I
through.
still think it would be better to do it that way. It's just they don't get that
Yeah,
payoff as like with
yeah,
a fight, you know who the two people
yeah.
are, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a gamble,
Yep.
right? You end up rooting for that person, but then they may not make it. But I do recall like the World Series of Poker ones though. I think that was kind of the whole purpose of November 9
Yep.
was to actually go and
Yep.
like do the background on people that had already made
Yep.
the final
It's
table, right?
promotion.
So
Yep. Promotion.
yeah,
Now, for
yeah,
the other side of the argument, right? Caitlin Kamensky responded to this tweet, and she was a completely other side of this. But now, let's be a little fair. She is a content creator. She is trying to hype the space. She is playing in streams sometimes, right? So cannot believe Pad's takes. Can't believe that this is happening. Incredible characters everywhere. And she says, look, this is just a Monday, and you can watch Marl Sprague playing day 2 of this PKO on Stars. Now, that's online, though. Like watching a streamer online, that's different than the poker content they're talking about. But okay, watching that on Stars while 9 months pregnant. Okay. Um, and Lily Coletto, which I forgot. I think she may be an LA person, content creator, maybe from LA. She got second place at the Venetian yesterday, so congratulations, Lily. She's over there, and then these are the only two that she mentions. But she's like, and this is just Monday, and she's very fired up about this now. Um,
Pads did respond to her, and they had a pretty good back and forth where he actually was talking about, I think that PokerStar sponsored pros are not supposed to be talking about other people. It was like a really interesting conversation. Obviously, Marley's like a good friend of hers. Um, but yeah, but I don't know if what she says like sort of disproves anything, right? Like you can say that people should care, but they don't care,
right.
right? So why don't they care?
Yeah, and the thing is with her post, I feel like you need to take it with a little grain of salt because Marley's like one of Caitlin's best friends, isn't she? They're very
Right.
close
Yeah.
friends, so of course
Yeah.
you're pumped up for that. Like
Yeah.
if
And
you're
that was like basically Patrick's point too. Yeah.
yeah, like these people personally, so of course you're excited, but like other people don't know them, and that's part of the thing with the streams trying to grab content creators, people who have their audience already. Like they're hoping people come in who already know these people's stories somewhat. And it's a whole other side about what the stories are or not. I feel like most content creators, their stories aren't going to be emotionally compelling the way that for poker, anyways. The way that like the World Series stuff was, their story's going to be like, oh yeah, this guy's super popular. He's really big in this area. He like it like a Mr. Beast or Ninja. It's like it's not going to make me care about his playing poker. That's just going to make me find him interesting in some other way, maybe, but not. I'm not going to. I don't think that's going to get me emotionally invested in his poker, right? But and then even with Lily, like clearly there's this like she seems to be having a very strong slant, which is good if you have one that will make you more interested in poker things. With that slant being like let's support women doing well in poker, which is great, but that doesn't get everybody excited necessarily, right? And Marley's playing online, and I don't like watching online streamers. I don't think I've watched an online streamer ever. Um,
Yeah.
so at least not for more than like 5 minutes or something. So it's like that's a whole nother type of content we're talking about now. So it's like, I mean, it's good that some people are excited, but I don't know. Maybe we're just all old dudes here, and I'm with them. But I've never liked the streams. Like you used to watch the Poker
Yeah.
Go streams. I have never been excited to sit down and watch an entire live stream that's about to happen, except for maybe I don't even think there is an except, but like the closest would be for a really interesting final table. I think the only times I really am looking to turn one on is when I do know someone on the stream or on the table. So it's like
Yeah.
they're really are we banking on everybody having a parasocial relationship with an influencer and then the influencer being on the table and wanting to
Yeah.
watch? I don't know.
But I think the scary thing is I used to watch any high stakes poker tournament stream with like even one or two of some of those top like 10 or 20 people. They're on the stream. I wanted to watch it, and I was doing it not only for educational purposes, but also I just like enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I honestly have probably missed a whole bunch of these streams over the last like I don't know at least 6 months. To the point where like, do I want to renew my Poker Go subscription next year? It's like kind of expensive, right? to have this every month if I'm not actually using it.
Yeah. I mean, and also there's some diminishing returns if you were watching it, even if it 50% was for educational purposes. Once you feel like you've learned what you can from watching, like that goes away a bit and then you lose that interest. Or even if you feel like now I know how to use GTO Wizard to get that same knowledge faster, right? Maybe now that takes half of the excitement away from watching, something like that, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. All right. So yeah, to each his own. I do think it's tough for someone like Caitlin to come out and try and hype it that way because she is so invested. It's hard to say you're not partial. Like she could be completely correct. It's just tough to be in that position and be the hype man for the counterpoint, right? So it's
yeah,
definitely a tough spot to be in. I mean, I know she's authentically excited for what she's saying. It's just like, well, yeah, right. Those are your best friends. Of course you're very excited.
right,
Yeah. All right.
right. So actually, before I know we are at 10:10 already, so maybe we were going to talk a little bit about Daniel's new deal with Kashi, which is a prediction market. But I think maybe a better topic we could wrap up before we go to the roundup is: did you see this post from Adam Hendricks?
I did not. What do we got?
Here, I'll drop it in the Discord so you can open it.
Yep.
But basically, over at the Borgata, they made a very top-heavy they guaranteed basically $1 million and a $3 million guarantee for first place, and there were some ridiculous payouts. And I know that you are always up in arms about payouts, but the interesting thing here was there was a promotion for BetMGM that said that they were going to have a $3 million guarantee with $1 million for first place. And if there wasn't enough money to make it a million without changing their general payout structure, they were going to round up to get to a million out of pocket. They were basically going to add to the prize pool just to get the first place up to $1 million.
Okay.
It looks like they didn't do that here because Adam said that there was 3.35 million in the prize pool.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, so maybe this is more than 3.35 million. Maybe top first place was 600K, right? And they just added 400K. But then I just pasted this in ChatGPT and I was like, can you sum right all these places with the numbers? And it came up with 3.35 million. So this looks like they actually adjusted the payout
Yeah,
structure instead of adding
and
the
if this
first.
this is the non-chop payout structure, I mean, just look at like third and fourth, 40, not even a 40K, a 40K difference
Yeah.
between third and fourth.
It's ridiculous the pay jumps. So they
150, 160,000 between second and third, and then 600,000
right.
for second and first. Oh my God.
Right. But like number one, just the structure itself looks like stupid. But maybe the biggest bad part of it, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be more coming out about this, was that BetMGM and even Darren Elias, right, had promoted this and said that they were going to add money to make first place $1 million. But that does not look like what they did. It looks like they took from everywhere else and rounded this up. So this looks pretty shitty.
Yeah. I mean, to the point in the comments I'm seeing is like, well, look, I mean, they said there's going to be $1 million and it was a $3 million prize pool. That's what they said. Adam's like, I didn't want first place guaranteed tournaments, right? Apparently people think that they do because we say this all the time that big first place number is what attracts
Yep.
people here, is what attracts people to get there.
I agree.
I'm with Adam. It's not what attracts me. I mean, the overall prize pool being distributed in a way that seems profitable and fair and still a little exciting. I mean, I don't want first place to be 4 buy-ins, but like I don't start with what is first place, right? But like if this is what makes people show up, I mean, it's a weird kind of discussion, right? Because I think this is terrible. You know that.
I mean, I definitely have said it many times before myself that I do believe that the first place prize matters, but that's not like a very strongly held statement. Like I have no proof, I
right.
have no data on it.
I mean, and I agree. I think it matters. I just don't think it's, it's not something you should. It's not something that makes it good. It's a byproduct of something that is good, and I don't think that warping things like the World Series does, like they do, like the World Series needs the Millionaire Maker to have first prize be $1 million, and they're like, you know what, we're so close, let's make second prize $1 million as well, and screw everybody else in this thing, right? I don't think it's worth warping.
There was like insane like main event thing that they did like a few years ago to make it up to 10 million.
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the number is worth warping the rest of the structure for, because that just hurts absolutely every single person but the winner. And it's just
you know what, like there's definitely an impact. Maybe it's not as strong as I think it is, but basically what happens is that every subsequent year people have in their minds that $10 million is the number for first place in the World Series Poker Main Event. And the thing is, it's always like really close, right? It's always really close regardless. But now it seems like cemented in people's heads. If I go out and play the World Series Poker Main Event, I'm going to get $10 million and change my life, right? So I do think that there's still some of that there. But maybe it doesn't matter for these little, like, whatever 400, 500K guarantees. But anything that gets you to $1 million for first place, I feel like does matter. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they do it, because it's a good. We talk about this time because it's a good headline. First place for $1 million, right? Yeah, that's a great headline as opposed to first place for $869,045 or something, right? But I mean, it's a lot. It ends up being a lot of money from the other places, and it's like, what are you doing? Like we put this in the chat. I put this in our chat the other day, saying how interesting take on poker tournaments, and one of the reasons I like them, I think that you like them too, is that what you end up doing is forcing people to play stakes they would never ever play. Right? This was a quote from a GTO Wizard blog article, and this kind of says it. I'm guessing if those are the min cashes, I'm guessing this was like a 5K buy-in, or like a 8K buy-in or something.
I think it was 5K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so people who are buying in for $5,000 for a poker tournament, when you get to first and second, what you're doing is you have them sitting there basically playing a 300K each freeze out. You have to put $300,000 on each side, and you're playing a freeze out when you're between first and second place, right? So these people that were playing 5K tournament are suddenly forced. The last two people are forced to play 300K freeze out. Like, that's insane. That's crazy. 300K would be a good first prize for a 5K tournament, and you're making them play 300K a piece on the freeze out for the heads
Right.
up. Like, what is going on? Like, this is
Right.
like it's an interesting social experiment, but like it's is this what we really want it to be though? Like, you want it to escalate in stakes, but do you want it to be that much escalated in stakes? You're suddenly playing for 600 grand. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so when you have to do something like this to get you 1 million, I would strongly disagree with it, even with the benefits of having that big top prize, right? There needs to be some amount of, like, I don't know, sanity
Yeah.
to how this scales down.
Yeah, especially I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, or I hope
400,
there's some sort of chop thing in play,
like
but
400K to $1 million between second and first is ridiculous.
yeah. So look, I know Cabin loves his top heavy payouts, but I hope even he would think this is ridiculous.
Right.
You
You
know,
would never see something like this from Kevin, right?
like
Like this is
if if Cabin put 100, put a million at first, second place would be at least 650, at least.
right.
Now he might say you're only gonna get paid out to 50th place, but
Yeah.
you know he would not make it that bad that way. But yeah.
And you know what? I just thought of something. You know, I kept blaming Gardens for run bad, but I just hope it's not actually Kevin. He's at the commerce time, so I break through.
Yeah, and I think the big problem with this is is that they advertise the usual payout structure wouldn't change, right? And that whatever money they needed to be added. But what's people are missing though is I think what they meant was if they overlay, they'll pay the overlay, not that they were gonna, because what is a usual payout structure, right? Nobody publishes their
Oh no,
payout formulas.
they literally said they were going to add to first place
But
to make it 1 million. So they were going to keep the normal payout structure. So basically,
but did they
if the
publish a normal payout
structure,
structure? Right? Like who's to say what
I think it was
normal
like
is, right?
I think it was just like based on what they typically do. So you should be able to see, roughly what the percentages are for first and second and third. I don't know what those were, but obviously when you sum all of this up, it equals the prize
Right.
pool. So they basically didn't add
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
And then when there's a jump from second to first, then they must have messed with something, right?
Yeah. So what but you can't prove it though because they don't publish their formulas, right? That means like unless there was
Well, I mean,
another 5K tournament with
I
3.3.
myself personally didn't look at their other payouts,
Yeah.
but you can very easily look at a couple of other payouts and be like, this is completely out of bounds because all the other ones are, whatever it is, like
Right.
15% for
I,
first place, and then
I'm just saying though, is like when you use words like usual and normal and whatever, like they can just say, this is normal. Like, well,
Oh,
show
I
me
mean,
another 5K we ran with 3.35 million
obviously from a
prize pool and show
legality,
it to me, right?
from
Yeah.
I mean, obviously from a legality perspective, there's nothing you can hold them
Yeah.
to, but I think it's very easy to compare this payout structure to their general ones because their general ones aren't
No,
going to be that
I
out of
understand what
bounds.
you would do and what you would say. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
people change, like, given the buy-in, maybe they say, well, for bigger buy-ins, we have a steeper first place. What they should have done, what I'm getting at though, is what should have happened, right? Is like they just barely beat the guarantee. This is not a unforeseen circumstance, right? They needed a plan. They have a 3 million guarantee. What they could have easily done, and maybe more tournaments should do this. What you should do is say, hey, look, if we miss the guarantee or it's exactly 3 million in the prize pool, this is what the payout structure is going to look like. If we get to 3.5 million, this is what the payout structure is going to look like. If we get to 4 million, this is what the payout structure is going to look like. Because why can't you do that? Why can't you do the math and figure it out ahead of time?
I think people used to do that, and I think definitely online does it. And
Yeah,
I
so
remember
why not just
there was
do
a
that?
part of I think there was a part of the bike website that actually had like their general payout structures, and they're like, obviously we modify this based on what it is, and it was like based on buy-ins and number of people. But like you can just take other 5K tournaments and compare them, and you'll very easily see the difference, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. This is completely warped. I'm just saying that they get licensed to do that because they said the word normal. So why not just like, and now that I'm saying it, I don't know why why did the bike take that down, right? Like, why does every tournament we play in, they can't tell you what the prize structure is going to look like until registration's over? Well, we're going to be between 400 and 420 entries or something. Why don't you just show me what it looks like for 400 and I can add like $30 per place or something, right? Like, I'm just curious.
I basically think like the tournament directors have probably not liked for one thing or the other when they look at what the formula generates, and they want to tweak it based on what they think
So,
should
but
happen.
do it ahead of time.
Uh, but the solution there should be to go and tweak the formula
Yeah.
to get it to what you need it to be. Because I think if you when I think about a Matt Savage, I'm very sure that just the formula, it spits it out and he doesn't touch anything. I'm very positive
I
that's what
would
happens
guess
with you.
that is the case, yeah. But like
Yeah,
I'm just
but
saying though, even if you're gonna tweak it, just look at the numbers ahead of time. Don't be surprised, right? Like this looks like if they were like how can you possibly advertise I'm not gonna touch the payout structure and then do this? Especially when this is a totally reasonable number. It's not like they got way more, way under or whatever. Like this is not I'm saying this is something you easily can predict. The guarantee is 3 million. Let's see what it looks like when it's near 3 million and then
yeah,
let's start spouting our mouths off, right? And it's
yeah,
like this wasn't like some wild outlier. You got 3.35 million. That's I bet people putting the over under in this tournament would have got it almost dead on. Like what's your
right.
big deal, you know? All the other tournaments around town like, hey, you know you're going to run the Park West Classic and it's going to get a 560k prize pool probably. Well, just why don't you say what that's going to look like, you know? Like it's not a
Yeah.
surprise. What do you depending how you feel that day, you're going to make it a little more top heavy or less like
Yeah, I don't know what elbow grease they put on these things when they
yeah.
just like kind of just like I don't like the look of this, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, no, that's good point. You know, I used to be East Coast player. I used to Borgata was like the only place around until uh like Pennsylvania, Maryland, everyone started legalizing casinos. So it's sad to see that. It's good to see big prize pools. It's sad to see that weird thing. It's like turning every poker tournament's just turning more and more into a lottery.
right.
And there already were lotteries. You know, even if you have a good payout structure, it's already a lottery. So why are you making it even worse? All right. Yeah, man, good to point that out. I guess Hendricks was just chasing the biggest prize pool available. I don't think he's MGM sponsored or anything, so definitely
Yeah,
not complaining like that.
I'm interested to see what the shakeout is when basically they end up like you saying like, you know what, you guys didn't add to first like you said you were gonna. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, because they definitely should spread that out. First place in that probably should have been like 700 to 800,
Right.
right? 750 to 800, and then second place could have been 550 or something, right? And push it down
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's not a bright note to end on, but you know, uh, hey, good on the person who wins that. Congratulations to whatever millionaire ends up winning that thing.
I mean the chances of that not getting chopped seems almost like nil, but you know
Right.
we'll see.
Yep. Someone could enter the final table with 50% of the chips, though. You never know.
That's true.
All right. All right. Let's get out of here with the roundup. Okay, so as we've been talking about, we are deep into the Commerce Hold'em series. We just finished up the first of the 2 multi-day events on the schedule, so that means this next weekend, get a little breather, back to 1 days. Now, not only are we back down to 1 days, but there's actually a PLO event. There's a No Limit Hold'em PLO event, which is the only purely No Limit Hold'em event on the schedule. So if that's your thing, get over there tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, they will be running their $500 No Limit Hold'em PLO 50/50. So that is interesting. You can win a Hold'em Series crown in PLO, you know, assuming that's the game you end on. So let's go. Aside from that, this week we just kind of have their normal stuff. So Thursday, then they have a deep stack in the afternoon. Later in the afternoon, evening, there we've got the nightcap. Then Friday they will be having a 50K guarantee deep stack. Saturday they'll be having a 100K 1 day. Along with mega satellites, they will now be satelliting into the main event only, no more packages. So they're going to be doing a satellite with 5 main event seats guaranteed for $150. 1 in 10 get that seat, so that's Saturday night. Sunday, they'll be doing another 100K guarantee. It is just basically the exact same event as the day before, but it's going to start at 10 a.m. To try and get us done a little earlier for those of us who work on Monday. Thank you, Kevin. I'm pretty sure it's the same. You can bring up that structure sheet to make sure the chips are the same. I think it is, though. And then they will also be doing a mega satellite with 5 seats guaranteed that evening, also $150 buy-in. So they'll be getting at least 10 more people into the main event there, along with the 21 they got in from the free roll, which Viktor Kugelov won. It was a satellite, but they still played it out to get themselves, or checked the chip stacks anyways, to get themselves a trophy. So Viktor got that trophy. So that's 21 more seats there. So that's 31 seats there, and they gave away 10 packages in the satellites they did the weekend or the day before that. So that's I'm just doing a count here, how many freebie or how many satelliters are coming in. So that's 40, 50, that's 51. And then they did another 10 packages that first weekend. So that's 61 satelliters coming in at a minimum to the main event. So that's good. They're going to start with 61 folks coming into the main event just on satellites. And that's at a minimum. Speaking of...
What? You know what? I played enough Franklin home games that maybe I'll go out and play that No Limit Hold'em PLO mix tomorrow.
Oh, yeah? Look at this. He's angry. He's raging. You know, nothing cures a little bit of tilt from a Hold'em perspective than getting into PLO and just slamming it in there.
Yeah.
Just get in there and gamble it up.
I've heard, through the grapevine, there's some restrictions on that food voucher, though. But, I'll try to get there early and get one of the food vouchers.
I mean, I have to think that most of these food voucher days, every single person gets one. Let's see. How many are they giving away there? Oh, only 50? Okay, they might be limited that day. The Monday ones, I have to think every player in that tournament gets a food voucher. But the 50, first 50, all right. Yeah, get in there. Get in there while you're deep, and you can really do some damage with that PLO stack.
I wonder how big the field is going to be, though, because it is,
It's a 500, and it's mixed. Yep.
And it's Wednesday. So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, they had Wild Drop Gill out there advertising it, so everyone knows his money's in. So maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Get in there. The almost bracelet winner in PLO will be in the field. Yep. So that's this weekend. We have those 100Ks with the satellites. And then, next week will be the final week of the series, culminating in the main event and the streamed final table for the main event Hold'em series, $1,200 buy-in. So we'll get to that when we talk about it next week. All right, so that is what's happening over at the Commerce. Over at the Hollywood Park, we have this weekend, we've got the regular TGIF, we've got the Saturday Bankroll Builder here, but on Sunday there is a football game. There will be no tournament during the day on Sunday. The night tournament is on starting at 7:30 on Sunday, so that is what's happening over there at Hollywood Park. And then remember, the last weekend of the month, they will be doing their 50K Saturday special over at Lucky Lady. I believe this weekend starts their fall kickoff series. So this weekend, their fall kickoff series starts with a Beat the Boss $1,000 bounty event. I still don't know what that means. Unless Liz Flint is playing and she has a $1,000 bounty on her, I don't know what it means, but if she is, that's what it means, $130 buy-in.
I feel like that's so ridiculous. I mean, how many tables are you, what are the chances of you being able to get on a table with her?
I don't know. It's a Thursday. It starts at 3 p.m. Maybe there aren't that many I don't know. And then on the Friday, on the 19th, they'll be having a 20K guarantee at 5 p.m. On Saturday, they'll be doing a 30K guarantee starting at 3 p.m. And then on, let's see, Sunday, they're just doing a deep stack. It doesn't appear to have a guarantee. It's probably just 10K guarantee. But they actually have a mixed game happening on Monday. Eights or better Omaha mix. So it's probably eights or better stud and then Omaha mix on Monday. So that's interesting. They're doing a mixed one. And then after that, starting next Tuesday, will be their multi-day. Their $235 100K guarantee. They're guaranteeing 20K for first place, so kind of like the last one. They're guaranteeing in this 100K that first place will be 20,000. So I think they'll beat that. I think they did this before and they beat it. So it is competing with the Commerce main event, but $235 is a pretty different price point than $1,200. So that is going on all the following week, finishing up at the end of the month on the 28th. So that is what's happening at Lucky Lady. And then at the Gardens, they are doing their regular dailies as usual. All right. Whew. Well, we were worried we wouldn't have much to talk about, but we had a couple walk-on topics, and, we love talking poker content. So thanks for joining us, guys. That is all we have for you this week. Please tune in for the next couple weeks, especially if you're longtime listeners, especially if you're longtime viewers here. We're gonna start taking some trips down memory road next week. Maybe we'll take a look back at the first year, see if we can think up any stories, think up any stuff that came up, a little history of the pod, and we'll walk through some memory lane the next couple weeks as we wrap up for this time. And yeah, kind of just say thank you.
Yeah, we got 3. I actually think we have 2 more episodes after this one, so definitely join us for the last 2.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been real. It's been fun. I don't know if I'll be out there this weekend. I'll probably get out for at least one of the days. But yeah, we'll see
Yeah, I
what's
think
up.
I'm most likely skipping that one day on Saturday. I'll be back for the main, but maybe I'll go out there for the PLO tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. You'll see us. It might have to try a little harder than usual, but you'll see us out there at the tables, guys, and we will be keeping an eye out for you. It's been fun. Hope you run pure, and if you don't, remember, it's not the dealer's fault. Laugh, have fun, have fun. It's just a game. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the tables.